The latest viral story pertaining to women's sports, fencer disqualified for refusing to face trans opponent. The individual, Stephanie Turner, took a knee in protest, refusing to compete against a man and was disqualified, not for anything related to transphobia or isms or whatever. They said that this competitor, Stephanie Turner, was disqualified for refusing to participate and fence against a legitimate fencing opponent. It was called the black card. And now taking a knee represents women who will not face men in their sports. We have the video for you, and then we'll break down fully what happened. Take a look at this. So for those that are just listening, you can see Turner here preparing to fence and then taking a knee, pulling off her mask and doing nothing. Now some words are being exchanged, and you can see here eventually the man approaches the woman and they have a conversation. Shortly after, you can see that the man walks away. The man is in the male athlete competing against females. And that's the video. So we got the story on this one, and it's interestingly drawing a lot of attention, despite the fact that even this source that I'm using, The Pink News, which is pro-LGBTQ+, lays out the story pretty straightforward. I think after the fact, we're going to get some opinions where obviously the right is going to say she did the right thing and the left is going to say she's a bigot. But at least in this story, they lay it out pretty much one for one. She refused to compete against a man. They said, well, then you're disqualified. And that's it. This is where we are currently at now. I'm wondering, based on this is Fencing Academy of Philadelphia, Stephanie Turner. I'm wondering if there's going to be an impact on this, because as we know, Donald Trump froze federal funds to Maine over their men and women's sports policy. This is an overt violation of the law. 100% illegal. I'm going to say it again. I want everybody in the back to hear this. This is illegal. We have the 1965 Civil Rights Act. Why am I getting the years wrong? 1964. No, I was right. The 1964 Civil Rights Act makes this explicitly illegal. Here's the story from the Pink News. A female fencer has been disqualified from a tournament after she refused to take on a transgender opponent. No, she refused to take on a man. That's just it. Fencing Academy of Philadelphia, Stephanie Turner refused to fight Redmond Sullivan, who transferred to the Wagner College women's team in 2024 at the Cherry Blossom Open tournament at the University of Maryland at the weekend. Turner had already faced 4 opponents before she having to take on Sullivan. As the pair were set to begin, she removed her mask and refused to go ahead with the bout, taking the knee instead. She was shown a black card by the referee and disqualified from the competition. Quote, I saw that I was going to be in a pool with Redmond, and from there I said, okay, let's do it. I'm going to take the knee. I knew what I had to do because USA Fencing had not been listening to women's objections. A USA Fencing policy, which has been in place since 23, states that trans women can only compete in women's events if they have completed 1 calendar year of testosterone suppression treatment, which is a lie. Men, with or without testosterone, are going to be at a physical advantage. So, I was thinking about this because I remember when Whoopi Goldberg, I think it was Whoopi Goldberg on The View, she was like, I don't even understand why there's even an issue about this. Okay. I was thinking about maybe we do a boxing match. Sanctioned, safe, regulated boxing match between Whoopi Goldberg and a comparable male of the same height, same age, racial background, same level of training. So if Whoopi Goldberg has done 0 training in boxing, we will get a man of the exact same age as her, same height, same weight. Let's go. Who's going to win? There's no question. It's going to be a 70-year-old man. He's still going to win. This is the absurdity of what they're claiming. Turner went on to say that when she took the knee, her opponent thought she was injured and asked if she was okay. But she told Sullivan, I'm sorry. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not fence you. Redmond said to me, well, there is a member on the board of directors here who supports me, and there's a policy that acknowledges me as a woman. So I'm allowed to fence, and you will get black carded. I said, I know. In a statement to the U.S. edition of the Daily Express, a spokesperson for USA Fencing said, in 2023, the policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. They went on to say the policy is based on the principle that everyone should have the ability to participate in sports. We understand that the conversation on equity and inclusion pertaining to transgender participation in sport is evolving. USA Fencing will always err on the side of inclusion, and we're committed to amending the policy as more relevant evidence-based research emerges, or as policy changes take effect in the wider Olympic and Paralympic movement. We respect the viewpoints on all sides and encourage our members to continue sharing them with us as the matter evolves. It's important for the fencing community to engage in this dialogue, but we expect this conversation to be conducted respectfully, whether at our tournaments or in online spaces. Okay, I respect this tremendously. This Stephanie Turner. We have the story additionally from Fox News. Women's fencer opens up about refusing to face trans opponent, accepting punishment and backlash. I got an idea. Women's fencer Stephanie Turner took off her mask and took a knee. Okay. All right. I have talked about this quite a bit. There are a lot of women that choose to engage in these sports, accept the rules, and clap and cheer for it. And then we see these photos where there's a podium with a guy cheering at first place, and then a woman in second and a woman in third. And there are people on the right being like, those poor women. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That most of the people at this fencing tournament are in favor of allowing a man to do this. Yo, this woman here, Stephanie Turner, did the right thing. She said, this is a women's tournament. I am taking a knee. But my point with all these other circumstances is I'm not going to sit here and pretend all of the frail, weak women who can vote for whatever they want and are strong, powerful women, they've chosen this 100%. So some argue, well, no, it's being forced upon them. No, they're supporting it. If every single woman at this fencing tournament said, I'm not competing against a man, there would be no problem at all. No problem. I'm not kidding. The issue right now is that most women want men to compete against them. Conservatives are going to deny it. Many women don't. Now, some women come to me because I 100% support the women who are fighting against this, saying we want our own sporting division. Agreed. And they say, yeah, most of these women are scared. And I'm like, listen, this is the world built by feminists and many of these liberal women. 70% of millennial women are liberals. They vote for it. They want it. They want to have it this way. Now, if you argue they don't, I'd say actions speak louder than words, and they're doing nothing to show they don't. Women like it when men beat them at sports. Okay, you think I'm being cute or being facetious? No. Women overwhelmingly vote for this. They like playing sports where men... Look, I'm wondering if there's like an evolutionary reason for this, that women largely, and again, I know there are women who do sports who don't want to compete against men, and I respect them, and I think they have that right. But I am telling you, when we look at the polling data, when we look at the voting patterns, women overwhelmingly are the ones voting for these policies to have men come and crush them in sports, just dominate, and they are. Is this the men want to be him and women want to be with him kind of thing? Like, there's an evolutionary drive where women are not as oriented on getting first place as men are. The mentality between men and women on winning competition are very, very different. No, hear me out. That is, a man wants to crush his rivals and stand atop the podium cheering. And on average, women want to hug and hold hands. I am not trying to be cute or insulting or derogative. I'm saying that I believe men, largely in the conservative space, are projecting a male psyche onto women. Certainly, there are women who want to win the competition. Certainly, there are men who want to hug and hold hands. Most men want to crush the competition. Most women want to hug and hold hands. Thus, when a man says, I'm a woman, the women want to hug and hold hands, and they don't care that they're not in first place. You can argue the inverse, but I would tell you right now, I think overwhelmingly women like it when dudes show up, put their hands on their face, and boom, I win, and they like it. Not all women, and I'm being hyperbolic with that, I'm making a joke about wrestling or sports competition, right? The reason why the rest of the women here say nothing is because they like it. Now, look, there are social pressures. There are instances where people are going to argue the women don't actually like it, but they're scared to speak up. Well, then I don't know what to tell you. You've got these women fencing. If there's a bunch of women ready to fence in a tournament, let's say there's 16, and one dude shows up and is going, yeah, I'm going to crush you. Whoa. I'm kidding. I know. I'm making a South Park reference. When I forgot what the character's name was, but it was basically Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm going to win. You get the joke. But if a guy shows up and says, I'm going to compete against you, the women could just be like, no. But here's the truth. They all want to. Otherwise, they'd just say, no. I'm going to tell you again. In my life, I've met so many people who have said things like, I really wish I could accomplish this thing, insert thing. A good example, a common example, is all the people who said, I really wish I could travel the world and report the news like you did, Tim. At the time, especially when I was doing it, I had so many women and guys, but the guys actually did it. But there'd be a lot of people be like, how do I do what you're doing and go and travel and produce these documentaries and things like this? And I'm like, go do it. Seriously, buy a plane ticket right out of Spain, $800 round trip, stay at a hostel for $30-40 a night. Do it. And they would go, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay. I had one woman and she was like, I'm going to go do it. And then after coming to New York, she was like, I respect this tremendously. She said, after thinking about it, I realized I don't actually want to do what you do. I actually just want to travel and hang out with my friends. And I was like, cool, go do it. She mistook seeing the videos of me traveling with wanting to go into the fray of combat, conflict, not so much heavy combat, but, civil unrest and riots. And she realized the feeling she had was actually, no, I just want to sit on the beach with my friends in a new place and travel around. And I'm like, yeah, that's very different. There's a lot of guys who want to do that too. And I understand why you might have looked at what I was doing and thought that would be like that. No, what I do is not so relaxing, as it were. Not so relaxing. So again, I'm going to say it. Most of the people in this space, most of the people watching this video, most of the people in X, guys. And men and women have different thoughts. Okay? They literally do. They're driven by different things. Trans women are no different. I'm going to say this now, shocking. There is no circumstance ever where a woman felt like a man or a man felt like a woman, period. And I'm going to explain why. It is impossible for a man to know what a woman thinks and feels. Fact. Not only are we all individual little snowflakes, it's true. Being a snowflake doesn't mean that you're a good-looking snowflake, but you are unique. Men in utero are different from males, and females are different in utero. Boys are born with more fast twitch muscle. It's more bone density, more skin collagen, or more fast twitch muscle, higher testosterone, even in the uterus. That's just the way it is. And this creates a different way of viewing the world, which is why guys, the joke I made on the Green Room podcast, I was like, no man will ever, we were talking about that video game, Split Fiction. And I was like, that game was written by a woman because the two characters like hold hands and they're like, we're going to adventure together. And I'm like, yeah, no man wrote that. Like no man wrote that story. It was written by a woman because guys don't hold hands. Guys don't hug. And there's only two reasons, why a man would ever touch another man. The first, professionalism. Professional tasks. That is, if a man requires a back realignment or surgeries from a doctor, he's going to be touched by that doctor. And the second is to cause harm to another man. Even his friends. That is either in combat or he's sack tapping his bro. I'm kidding, by the way. Of course, guys can hug each other. There's a handful of dudes I know. You do the inside handshake and the pat on the back once. It is the camaraderie grasp. But my joke is that guys typically don't touch each other. Women hug all the time. Women and men are different. They just are. And so a male's mentality is going to be different. And there's not going to be there are so many differences that men and women have physiologically. They have different internal organs. Like for the love of all that is holy. They are affected differently by drugs. That's how intense the differences can be. A man has never felt like a woman. A woman has never felt like a man. Now, a woman believes she feels like a man. But I'll tell you this, and I mean this with no disrespect. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. I'm trying to speak some truth here. Elliot Page, for instance. There's this viral video of an interview Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page, did with like Entertainment Tonight or whatever. And she's saying things like, I look in the mirror and starts crying. And she's like, just I could wear a towel at my waist. And it's like, okay, I'm going to pause you right there. No guy's ever felt that way. Not once, not ever. That is how a woman feels. That is behaving like a woman. And I got to be honest. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what it feels like to cry about looking at my bare chest. I don't know what it feels like to cry about stubbing my toe or shaving my legs. I honestly don't know what it's like to cry for anything other than someone I know or cared about died or my pet died. There is, I do not relate to that. I do not understand. And there are certainly men who think they're feeling like a woman because they might cry, but they are misattributing. The male psyche and hormonal drivers are different from female. And it's long been debunked. There is no male and female, there's no female brain in a male body. That was a hypothesis at some point, and it's not correct. So my point ultimately here is this. The females in the fencing competition, they want something that the average man doesn't understand. So, guys, I think you get this. Ask yourself how many of the girls you know roll up wet towels and whip their friends with them or haze them in brutal ways. I guess women do have hazing too, so scratch that one. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But men are brutal and physical. They like playing tough contact sports. Some women do. Some do. And some men like cuddling and hugging and holding hands with other men. That was always allowed. I'm talking about generalities and tendencies, which is why Stephanie Turner took a knee, because she wants to win. She believes in principles. Most other women do not. Again, you might say, well, it's only because they're scared. Then I will say this. Women allow these things, either through their own inability to act or fear, if that's your argument. My point is, when we put pen to paper, women vote for men in their spaces. We need to stop projecting the male psyche onto females, and the women need to stop projecting their female psyche onto males. This is the large issue, right? Now, I understand the purpose of women's sports. I get it. So I am on Stephanie Turner's side, and she did the right thing, and more power to her. This is amazing. I am so inspired and glad that she took the knee, because I keep saying women need to act. Don't come to me and say women hate this when I can watch a video where the women are cheering for having lost. I'm like, dude, they're the participation trophy gender. Not all of them. I'm saying tendencies. So I don't need to rant on this anymore. You get the point. The market's collapsing, right? But there's at least some news. So we'll wrap it up there. Stay tuned. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. We got more segments coming up for you, and we'll see you all shortly.